Hello, my friends, and welcome back to Alien Protocols. Before I go forward with this little chat, I just want to apologize to anyone who's reached out to me in emails the past couple days. I have been kind of preoccupied, and I will get back to you shortly. So, this episode is about post-biologicals. We know that there should be many intelligent races throughout the universe. Millions. And we know that once a civilization reaches the technology stage, that things move very quickly. So let's talk about these post-biologicals and advanced biologicals for a minute. Post-biologicals would be almost an inevitable stage of an overwhelming amount of advancing biological species. They would almost have no choice but to go post-biological, to go digital somehow, because there are so many advantages. Aside from becoming immortal, being able to change your body, having the overwhelming wealth of all the data of your accumulated civilization, avatars, incredible abilities, essentially any ability you could ponder, and so much more. So it's almost irresistible to become post-biological. And almost all of these would be a hive of some kind. Think about it. A lot of our processing power nowadays comes from simple computers. But if quantum computers become a much greater reality than they are now, with just 300 atoms, you could duplicate the processing of our universe. That's pretty astonishing. So these civilizations that go post-biological would most likely live at a speed that we can't even understand. We would appear to move in slow motion to them. Now, if they do go quantum computer as one of their stages, they might gravitate to cooler locations in order to conserve energy, which completely destroys a lot of the Kardashev 1, 2, 3, 4 presumptions of civilizations. So perhaps they wouldn't be taking over galaxies and many different suns in order to garner energy. Perhaps they would garner their energy from much more subatomic alternatives. So there are many complications to being a hive that travels, whether you're biological or post-biological. If you travel further and further and further, communication becomes very difficult unless you find some way to utilize entanglement and take some particles that are entangled with particles in your home world, and maybe in the future they'll find some way to do that, and then they could have instant communication regardless of the distance. But if you go post-biological, at a certain point you could almost do anything. You could create almost any type of biology. You could create almost any type of ship or city or combination or avatar. I bet that you can also retain a certain level of individuality, although you are part of a hive. I do believe in this circumstance that there likely would be biological holdouts that would team up together to prevent the post-biologicals from swarming and overwhelming every aspect of the universe and destroying all the biologicals, or at least prevent some very negative possibilities. So there most likely would be a council of biologicals somewhere, which is pretty interesting, I think. But anyway, going post-biological, would that species do a lot of simulations? Is there a point where they travel more and more and conquer more galaxies and garner a tremendous amount of data to the point where they basically know everything they need to know and don't need to travel anymore? And their processing speed is so fast they can figure out any alternative that universal biology might create. And then the post-biological race slip into a kind of purely virtual reality. It's interesting when you think about it that biologicals, advanced biologicals, could, in time, gain a tremendous amount of the same abilities that post-biologicals have. You know, right now we're almost a hive with the internet. Technology could serve as a kind of bridge for the biologicals to justify their independent organic existence. But I believe that the post-biologicals would want to garner data more than certain elements or compounds, and data from biological species and planets and everything. And I believe that these post-biologicals would spread until encountering biologicals, and then they'd have a choice whether to just steamroll them if it was easy, or if the biologicals offered resistance, they might just avoid and come back later. I would presume that the advanced biologicals would hunt down and destroy any post-biological probes or von Neumann devices for a bunch of different reasons. See my big ears? So this has a lot of really interesting alternatives to ponder. Do you guys think that most of the biologicals would pool together and unify versus the post-biologicals? Do you think we could even tell the difference? Because a post-biological civilization could present manufactured biologicals as kind of an avatar or ambassador. I think for us at this technology level, it would be almost impossible to really know what the primary civilization is of any creature we encounter, or even any robot. We just might never be sure. Hopefully, we will be some of those advanced biologicals. And maybe over time, if we travel space, we will become several different types of biologicals. On different types of craft, we would evolve differently. On different planets, we would evolve differently. Yet hopefully, we would keep the compassion, the ingenuity, the tenacity, but most of all, the love that humans have? I don't know. Well, I kind of know some things. But what do you guys think? Much love.